Hello. Thank you, Peter. My name is Terry. Can you all hear me? Okay. And all of you can see the slide. Okay, I begin with today's sharing session about facade industry testing. So this is the outline of today's topic. We will start with CIDB Act 520 regulation. Then the next one is about our Malaysia standard MS 832 and 1017 that regarding aluminium window and sliding doors. Then the third one will be facade and other testing. And we'll move on to why we want to choose an accredited lab. And after that, we will have a brief introduction about ToothSuite. So let me begin with today's sharing session. So CIDB Acta 520 is already passed in 1994 by CIDB. And on December 1st, 2015, it's already gazetted in Malaysia. So yeah, as you can see the highlighted box in red color, you can see aluminum structure is under MS 832 and 1017 under Schedule 4 CIDB. So the next one is about MS 832. So in the Acta 520, all the window will need to undergo this MS standard 832, and in order to comply with this, you need to require to apply a product certification. So under this standard, there's a clause from 5.1 almost until 10.22. There's quite a number of testing that is required in this standard. 5.1 is aluminium, then joint sealant is 5.2, 5.3 is operating device, bearing device, and hardware. 5.4 weather strip, then move on to fastener, glass, glazing, casket, sealant, anchor bolt, design, construction, glazing, security, and safety. 5.1 to clause 5.1 to clause 9 is basically all those component related. So some of the manufacturer in the market like aluminium extrusion like LB, PMB, they already apply the product certification. Like Wise Glass under clause 5.7 is already under Acta also 520. So manufacturer in the market has already applied this product certification as well. So in order to apply this under MS832, they need to comply 5.1 to 9. Then after that, they need to do a performance test and operation test under this MS832. I'll move on to some sharing session in detail on the performance test in a later slide. So product certification process. ToothSuite is one of the product certification, or you can call it CB, that registered in Malaysia under Standard Malaysia. So this is our cycle of product certification from 1 to 7. First, you need to complete and submit some forms back to ToothSuite. Then our internal product certification team will evaluate the documentation. Then after that, we will arrange some date to conduct the factory inspection. And all the document, after everything review, if comply, we will start to issue the certificate. Then the applicant's name will be published in the website in our directory. Then a certification mark or label will be issued. Then yearly there will be surveillance monitoring in order to comply on product certification. So this is one of samples of our product certification issued by ToothSuite, where the first one is our certificate holder. Then this is our certificate marks that after the applicant granted with this cert, they can print this logo on their products or brochures. So product, standard, country of origin, this is the validity of the certificate. So we move on in some technical briefing about MS832 and 1017. One is window, another one is a sliding glass door. Basically, these two standards, they will need to undergo performance test under clause 10.21 and 10.22. One is called weather tightness and the second one is operation. So on the weather tightness, it will have a sequence of tests from 10.2.1.1 to 0.4. We're starting with a structural performance, then it move on to air leakage, then the third one is a water tightness, and the last one is proof load. So under this figure, this is our facility, test facility for this kind of test. They consist of a test chamber. This is the complete test chamber, and equipped with an air system. We are using a blower to create the air pressure. Then certainly we will need a pressure measuring system. We are using a manometer to measure the pressure. Then this airflow, we are using an air velocity meter to measure what is the flow rate of this air under meter per second or foot per minute. Then it's equipped with another deflection measuring, or we name it as LVDT, to measure the displacement created by the air pressure. So what is this weather tightness test about? First, on the structural performance, this is actually to determine the structural movement of the mock-up system. As you can see the top right corner here, the picture, this is the transducer. When the air pressure inside the chamber is blowing, it creates some movement on the window system, and this LVDT transducer is going to measure the movement of the displacement. Then the second test is the air leakage test. This under MS standard, we'll need to determine the rate of air leakage under 20% or 200 Pascal pressure difference across the mock-up system. Then the third one, water tightness test. As you can see on the right bottom corner here, this is the water tightness test. There's a series of nozzles inside this chamber where it will spray on a constant flow rate to check on the leakage at the exterior side. Then the last one is proof load. Proof load is actually the same type of test like structural. The only difference is on the withholding pressure, air pressure, with about 1.5 times of the design pressure. So meaning to say, if the structural performance is at 1000 Pascal, it will be 1500 Pascal. This facility currently is located at our Bukit Jelutong Shah Alam. Besides the weather tightness test, the other test that need to undergo under this MS standard is operation test. So operation test consists about 7 different tests, as you can see over here. The test number 1 is the locking device, or you can call it handle or whatever. Then the second test is the movement of the casement or sash, which the window or sliding window. The third one is the resistance to excessive operating force. The fourth one is strength of restricted opening and location device and maximum opening stop. The fifth one, resistance to accidental loading. Then it will go to the endurance locking device. Under this endurance test, you need to go about 50,000 cycle, and every 10,000 cycle, our laboratory engineer will need to remeasure under test 1 and test 2. That means after it's run 10,000, our engineer will need to measure the locking device operation and the movement of the casement. 20,000 again, 30,000 until 50,000 cycle. When it completed, it's only considered compliance to the standard. Then the last test is a jumping track. And this facility currently is located in the same laboratory in Bukit Jelutong. Then the next few slides, I'll be sharing some of our previous operation tests that happened before. So as you can see, this the friction stay over here already damaged. We cannot continue for the endurance test. Another field test on the friction state at 55,000 cycle, just 5,000 before it's passed. You can see the rivet already dismantled, disconnected. At 18,000 cycle, the casement window, you can see the track over here already been damaged. Then the third topic, we move to facade and other testing. Another type of test that in the facade industry is failure analysis. This is to determine what is the root cause of the failure. That usually is happen when after installation, after certain period of time, there will be some damage or failure in the market industry, and the dispute between developer, architect, consultants, and the contractors. So this is whereby TUSUD can play a part in the role to determine what is the failure root cause due to this site work. So we are basically using 5 different engineering materials that show on the bottom here. One is using metals, polymer, ceramic, composite, and others. So as you can see over here, glass panel, there's some of the failure like delamination, cracking, and some stain issue. So on other external facade that beside glass, you can see all these stain issue. Then on floor as well, some of the flooring has been peeled off after certain time periods. Then the last one is about joint sealant. So glass delamination or sealant compatibility. So you can see all this picture here is due to some delamination, or sometimes because of the sealant compatibility issue. Some defect on the glass itself, like line marks. Some pinhole over here. So under our visible eyes, we might not able to see all this pinhole and line mark, but we are using some instrument in order to magnify it to able to see this pinhole or line marks as well. You can see this is quite tiny, it's only 1 mm. So on the external facade panel, some discoloration issue is quite obvious. So this is the same, also discoloration and stain issue. Some concrete panel cracking issue. So this one as well, crack issue under the fire hose rail. Then beside that FA analysis, TUSUD Malaysia able to conduct a safety glass test as well under MS 1498. As what I mentioned, this already gazetted under ACTA 520. They consist of 6 different tests over here: pendulum impact, void test, weathering, fragmentation, drop ball, and last one is surface compression. And this facility in Tusut, Malaysia, I will go through an individual test. So this is the structure of a pendulum impact test, where there will be an impact using a tire impactor. So the tire will be raised at about a certain height depending on the classification of the glass. Then after that, we'll let it go under free fall. It will start to impact the glass and see whether it breaks or not. The second one is fragmentation test. This is only for tempered glass. We are using a puncher over here to punch on the glass. Then after that, we can see this picture. We will start to calculate what is the number of particles that break within the glass. The next one is void test. This is for laminated glass. So the test will be using a temperature of at least 97 degrees Celsius for 2 hours duration. So after the 2 hours, the engineer will start to observe the glass whether there's any issue on the delamination, bubbles, crack, or whatsoever, whether it will comply or not. The next one is for tempered and laminated glass. We're using a drop ball. This is some sort like a pendulum impact, but this is a smaller size using a steel ball 1 kilogram. And this ball will fall from 1 meter height and hit on the glass at the bottom here. If the ball penetrates through this glass, is considered a fail, or else it will consider pass. The fifth test is a surface compression test. This is for tempered glass. We are using this strain stopic scope to check on the stress level on the tempered glass, and the minimum compliance as per MS 1498 is 69 megapascal. Then the last one is for laminated glass, which the sample will go through an ultraviolet for 1000 hours using a mercury lamp of 750 watt. So we will observe whether there's any physical change as delamination, bubble, cracks, or discoloration. So this sample before and after the ultraviolet, we need to measure certain like visible light transmittance to check on the differences before and after. Another related test on the safety glass, which is under BSEN 356 security glazing. This is an X test. You can see this is a facility that we have in Singapore. So the glass will be classified as a P6B, P7B, or P8B, depending on number of stripes. Another test that is on site, which is a water leakage field test under American standard, is a AAMA 501.2. You can see this is the instrument that we are using a nozzle over here. Under this AAMA, this is a type B25 that we purchased directly from America, with a pressure gauge here to measure the pressure spray, then a control valve. So there will be two engineers for this kind of test. One will be standing outside of the gondola as this picture. This person will be holding this nozzle to spray on the exterior glazing, especially on the joint system. Then there will be another inspector standing inside of the building to inspect and observe during the water spray by his colleague outside, whether there's any water leakage inside the building or not. On-site balustrade testing. This is an on-site test as well under BS 6180. It's a horizontal uniform distributed load at 3 kilonewton per meter. And it's only allow a deflection of 25 mm. This is some test that is applicable for those like shopping mall, where there's a balustrade along the pathway, there's quite a number of people will be leans against the balustrade. And whether it withstand certain load or not. That's why this is a necessity to do this testing in order to prevent anything hazard happen. So there will be 3 transducer over here measuring at about 1.1 meter. Then after that, the load will be pressing over here for 3 kilonewton per meter. So another test that is related to the glass is the ISO 9050 is a glass performance, or in the market normally they call it U value. So for this testing, there will be about 6 different figure numbers that we generated through this testing. One is the visible transmitter on reflectance. The second one is solar direct transmitter on reflectance. Then U factor admittance, solar heat gain, and the last one is shading coefficient. And this facility currently is located at our Singapore lab, Tusut PSB. Acoustic test, or you name it as a sound transmission test, STC, through laboratory methods. This is a test that is accordance to ASTM or ISO standard. You can see this picture over here. There will be a source room over here on the right hand side that creating the noise. Then on the left side of the room is a receiving room to receive what is the noise that being transmitted from this source room to this receiving room. So currently this laboratory is in Singapore as well. Another on-site air filtration test. This is something that related to the previous slide, air leakage test in our facility in Bukit Jelutong. That one previously is mainly for mock-up test, is before the on-site installation. Then after that, how to ensure after the installation at the site, whether the air leakage at the site there is still compliant to the previous test or not. So this is the test method according to ASTM E783, where we be mobilizing our blower to the site and conduct the air infiltration test. And according to this standard, it's normally tested at 75 Pascal or specified by the authority, which probably some of the time is under the tender requirements or architects and facade consultant. Another test which is related to water tightness test. This same like the previous test as well for water tightness as for the mock-up, but this is for on-site to ensure after installation the joint sealant can withstand the water tightness test as well. So just now under American standard, that is using 2 engineers to perform the test where one of the person is standing outside the gondola. For this ASTM E1105, this is a different kind of method where engineer will set up a series of nozzles outside of the building. You can see this picture over here. There will be no person standing outside of the gondola to spray using nozzles. So from the inside, we'll be covering the glazing using some of the wooden plate and some of the film. Then there will be a blower to blow the wind loading. So for those curtain wall tests, this facility is located at Singapore right now at our Tuas, Singapore. So this chamber is at about 60 meter height. It's quite tall over here. As you can see this picture. It's set up in 2005 July. There consists of 4 different sites over here where concurrently they can do installation and testing at the same time. So this testing is accordance to ASTM, Australia standard or New Zealand, and American standard as well as Singapore. So another test for glass door. This is located in our Singapore laboratory in Tuas as well. So this is a fire resistant test, and the furnace of this facility is at 3.2 meters square. It's a vertical furnace that comply with Australia standard. There's another one that more common in our Malaysia side is BS 476 part 20 and 22. Then some of other standard as well, like Singapore and ISO. Another test that related to this window test is for the sealant on the component on the sealant. So sealant normally it undergo this STM 920 test. There's about 10 different tests over here. You can see staining and color change, extrudability, rheological indentation hardness, tag free time, adhesion and cohesion, effect of heat aging, effect of accelerated weathering, adhesion in peel off, material identification. So this facility currently is at Singapore. So I will move on to the next topic, why we require to choose an accredited lab. So an accredited lab actually is undergo this certification of ISO or IEC 17025 2017. This is a general requirement for the competence of testing and calibration laboratories. And in Malaysia, this is governed and controlled by Standard Malaysia. By using an accredited lab, there's a few of the benefit over here. One is you can assure the technical competence because Standard Malaysia will come and do assessment on our laboratory to ensure our technical person is competent enough. Then acceptance of the result or test report by user or regulator, cost and benefit, customer service, value for money, and the last one, we need to respect confidentiality and integrity. So whenever you receive an accredited report, how do you identify as an accredited report? So like if you are receiving a test report from Malaysia side, you can see on the first page on the top left corner over here, this is the accreditation logo by Standard Malaysia. And this is a report from Singapore side at the bottom of the first page. There's a SAC Singlass. So this is a Singapore Accreditation Council. And what is this ILAC MRA? ILAC MRA is actually an International Laboratory Accreditation Council. And MRA stands for Mutual Recognition Agreement. So whenever this report is generated using this accredited logo and the ILAC MRA, this report, whenever you send this report to outside of Malaysia, all the other countries that join this ILAC member, they will need to recognize the report. So this is our certification accreditation by Standard Malaysia for TUSUD Malaysia laboratories. Beside this is Singapore side by Singlass Malaysia, Singlass Singapore. Whenever a laboratory is accredited, beside the certificate of accreditation, the laboratory will have a schedule of accreditation. So meaning to say, if you have a scope like, take example like this one, Singlass. If you can see building material, cement, setting time here. The schedule over here stated is the SSEN 197 and the signatory is this person TBK. So this is a scope that we register under Singlass. So if there's another test standard that is equivalent, most probably like a BS standard, that is not considered an accredited scope because in this schedule over here is listed as SSEN. So this slide is some sharing for you some of foreign accredited logo. So this one is Malaysia used in our country. This is our neighbor country Singlass. This is China. This is Japan. This UCAS in UK. This Australia, New Zealand, sorry, and this Hong Kong. So just now I already shared this certificate accreditation. Beside that, we are one of the panel lab that registered with CIDB, and this is our certificate of registration. Last is about some briefing about TUSUD. So TUSUD is a company that originated from Germany. So it have about 150 over years experience, and worldwide we have 1,000 over location. And during this pandemic COVID-19, with our presence of 1,000 over location, we are able to conduct some sampling or inspection for some of the client, where else some of the CB or laboratory are unable to travel to overseas right now. So we have some client that actually engage us for them to do some sampling in China as well, because currently Malaysian cannot travel to China. And we are 100% independent and impartial. We are not related to any GLC or some ACTA as well. We are not related in any kind of regulation. This slide is some sharing session about our present TUSUD in ASEAN region. That's basically on TUSUD PSB. In 1969, CISA, that is the National Lab of Singapore, is established in 1969. That is about the same time like CIRIM. So in 1972, it's being renamed as NPD, National Productivity Board. And 1996 is a merger between CISA and NPD. Then in 2001, they corporatized it as a PSB corporation. And in 2006, because of impartiality issue, they would like to sell it off for some external party in order to prevent a conflict of interest, where they do regulation and at the same time to conduct testing and certification as well. And in 2006, TUSUD successfully acquire PSB, and we rename it as TUSUD PSB. TUSUD industry able to support on all this kind of industry like chemical and process, consumer products, energy, healthcare, infrastructure, manufacturing, mobility, and real estate. So we will be able to conduct auditing and system certification, like the basic one is ISO 9001, to do some inspection, testing and pro certification, advisory and training as well, if you require anything from us to train your personnel in your company. So this slide just to alert all the participants. Currently we are having a promotion period up to about 30% off for some of our testing. So that is about all. It's under Q&A session. I will pass back to Peter. Thank you, Peter.
Yes, feel free to unmute if you have any question. Mr. Wan, right?
Yes.
Okay, so your first question, you mentioned that different material, ACL, fiber, cement. Yeah, so for fiber cement, right? For external use, we do tests like wind load test. Maybe according to ASTM E330, we do that. So you wanted to know what is the deflection rate when it's subjected to certain wind load. We do on that. Some of the tests we also do is on rain effect and also with wind. Yeah, that we also do.
Okay.
Yeah. And on the second question, right, BS at 414, for curtain wall, this one we are not sure. Yeah, on the curtain wall.
For this A414 is a fire external cladding test. So we understand that last year Syrian actually established a lab at Sungai Rasa, and they Bomba actually regulated this facility. So it's actually for any external cladding. But Tusut unable to support this testing at this period of time. We do not have the facility, and only Sirim have this facility right now.
Okay, understand. But the thing, I mean, the question is that, I mean, because we are not sure. Maybe some of the participants here can probably chip in a little bit of ideas as well. Is that we know that there's the requirement actually applied to ACL panels, fiber cements, all that. But then I'm not sure whether this is applicable to glass type of curtain wall. Second question would be that just in case if there's a need for that, would Tusut Malaysia's willing to, is there a possibility for Tusut Malaysia to work with Sirim on utilizing their test facilities, so to speak?
It's possible, but it will take some time on the collaboration with Sirim. We do have certain collaboration with Sirim on some of the scope, but not for this A414.
But if there is a request, we can discuss with Sirim.
All right. Okay.
So if you need any help, you can always call Peter or regarding this issue. We can direct you to the person in charge, either in Sirim or Bomba.
Okay. Noted.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, any other question?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any question. So if there's no more further question, we would like to end. But if you have any other question regarding any other testing, you may always contact me. As you can see, there's my contact number and email address on the slide. So I think we would like to say thank you for everyone for your time to attend with this sharing. So so we would like to end the sharing for now. So if you have anything, please give us a call. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice